Good day, my dear learners. I am Teacher Shira, and welcome to another English class with me. For today's lesson, we are going to learn about how to give conclusions to realistic fiction. Before we begin our lesson for today, don't forget to subscribe on my channel. Ring the notification bell for more updates. Like, share, and comment in this video. Because learning is bliss, learn with Teacher Shira. Now let us differentiate fiction, non-fiction, and realistic fiction. When we say a story or a text is fiction, it refers to plot, settings, and characters created from the imagination of the author or the writer. A story about a cat that flies and talks is an example. Another example here is a story about students with supernatural powers. These examples are only products of the writer's imagination and could never happen in real life. On the other hand, when we say non-fiction, it refers to factual stories focused on actual people and events, meaning to say it has to have evidences. Some examples are books about the life cycle of a butterfly or a documentary film. Now, how about realistic fiction? Realistic fiction is a genre consisting of stories that could have actually occurred to people or animals in a believable setting. Some examples are Ramona the Brave, The Fault in Our Stars, and The Diary of a Wimpy Kid. These stories may have happened in real life but still a product of the author's imagination. But what is conclusion anyway, and how do we make it? A conclusion is a statement a reader makes after reading a passage in the story. To draw a conclusion, one can use the story clues, or what you read in the text, and your own experience, or what you already know, to figure out the things that were not fully explained in the story. To put it simply, we must remember the formula, story clues plus what I know is equals to conclusion. Now let us discuss some examples. Let's read a passage and try to make our own conclusion. You are in line in the canteen. You ordered a pizza. You look around and notice that the people who got pizza are throwing it away after taking a bite. Why are they throwing the pizza away? If you already got an answer in your mind, then you are already making a conclusion. We can therefore conclude in this example that people are throwing it away because the pizza is already spoiled or the pizza doesn't taste good. Now, what story clue makes our conclusion correct? Very good. The fact that people who got pizza are throwing it away after taking a bite. Let us have another passage. Dark clouds had blocked out the sun. She heard thunder off in the distance. What do you think is about to happen? We can conclude that a storm or heavy rain is about to happen. Now, what story clues give us this conclusion? Very good. We have here dark clouds had blacked out the sun. It also says that a strong wind is blowing through the trees, and the character is hearing a thunder from the distance. Now, to summarize our lesson for today, we must remember that story clues added to personal experience or knowledge is equals to conclusion. For our activity in this lesson, I will be reading a story to you titled Tubby the Fat-Bellied Cat, and you have to create your own ending of the story by drawing a conclusion. Are you ready to listen to our story? Very good. Get your pen and paper ready to make your conclusion later. Tubby the Pot-Bellied Cat. Andy never wanted to go to bed on time. His parents had explained to him how important it was to go to bed early and get a good rest. But Andy paid no attention to them, and they didn't know what to do. That was until one weekend when they were visiting Andy's grandparents. Grandpa Peter heard all about it and said, "This sounds like a job for Tubby, my pot-bellied cat." They loaded the cat onto the car and returned home. Tubby was a slow, inflated-looking kind of a cat. He wasn't much of a bother because most of the times no one knew where he was. That night at bedtime, the same problem arose. Andy had no intention of going to bed, but even though his parents waited a while to see if Tubby would solve the problem, nothing happened. "Grandpa really does make up some nonsense," said Andy's father. "I really think he's starting to lose it." Hours later, Andy finally decided to go to bed. But what a surprise when he entered his bedroom. Tubby was in his bed, totally sprawled out, pot-belly in the air, and snoring like an express train. Andy tried to shift the cat, but there was no way of moving him an inch. That night, he hardly slept a wink, being pushed over into one tiny corner of his bed. The next day, the same thing happened. Even though Andy was much more tired from not having slept, when the third day arrived, he had understood that if he wanted to sleep in his bed, he would have to get into it before Tubby did. That night, when his parents merely started hinting at the topic of bedtime, Andy shot upstairs like a bullet and dived into bed. His parents could not believe it. They knew nothing about Tubby in the bed, nor did they understand why Andy went to bed on time, without complaint. They were so happy about this and they stayed up quite late celebrating, but now you have noticed that our story is actually open-ended. Now it's your turn to make your conclusion on what is about to happen next. You can write your answer in a piece of paper, or you can also put it down in the comment section below. I am giving you 1 minute to do this activity. Are you done? I'm looking forward in seeing your answer in the comment section below. This is all for today, my dear learners. I hope you have learned something. Thank you and God bless.